Obviously, we have Dave Alexander coming up next with his presentation, and it's awesome to get an opportunity to introduce Dave. I've known Dave for more than 10 years now, and like I said earlier, when it comes to some of the best goalie coaches that I've come across, I found that they're also the best learners. And I think Dave Alexander absolutely encompasses that. From when he started with the University of Maine to the Syracuse Crunch, and now Stanley Cup champions in 2019. And then obviously Four Nations with Jordan Biddington and Team Canada. His pursuit for excellence and his pursuit for constantly learning and applying what he's learning and adapting his knowledge to the ever-changing game is one of the best in the world. So, Dave, thank you so much for being here, and stage is yours.
I'm very grateful to be with you all, because one day I was a 20-year-old guy at university taking my education degree. I had no thought of coaching in the NHL at all. None. I was going to be a school teacher. I was going to live in Eastern Canada, and I was going to work hard to be a good dad and, enjoy nature, because the East Coast of Canada is awesome. But things kind of spiraled, and I'm not going to get into that. But things spiraled, and I end up where I am today, sitting on this stage somehow, So I always love taking these opportunities to give back, because I was once, and still am, a lot like you in some ways, because as Justin said, I'm constantly trying to learn, and I don't think I know everything. Someone's going to watch this presentation today and probably does not agree with all of it, and that's okay, because I love it, because anytime you're on a stage, you're up for some scrutiny, which is cool. I'm fine with that. But maybe I can impart a little bit of wisdom to help you, or I might confirm some of the knowledge you already have. And I think that's a big deal too. I read things and I'm like, yep, all right, yeah. But at least it's confirming something I believe in. So that's cool. So we're going to dig into maybe a little bit of a complex thing. And I guess it's not that complex, but we're going to apply it to puck handling. Because one of the things I seem to get asked about all the time is puck handling. Is anybody familiar with the St. Louis Blues and how they handle pucks? Anybody? Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. This is going to be really fun. Better than I thought. So I'm blessed. I've got two pretty good puck handlers. Both very different. Very different. But what we're going to do is we're going to apply a little bit of science and geek out a little bit on some school stuff. And then we're going to filter it into the clips that we've got. I've got about 120 clips that we're going to just start rifling through. It's going to be fun. Okay. So have we talked about perception action a little bit? So here's the thing about perception action. I don't like reading stuff, but I'm going to have to. This isn't my style, but we're going to do it. It's basically how athletes interpret things, and it helps them make decisions on how they move. So we perceive what's happening around us, and then we act. But what's interesting that people don't think about sometimes too is this is a continuous loop. It just doesn't happen once. Like you perceive and act, and it starts all over again. It just keeps going around and around. And the actions that we take are basically supported by the environment that's around us. And you can only act as good as you are, as your skill set is. So you can want to do something. It's like my 13-year-old daughter. It was really tough at one point because she would shoot three-pointers, and she was 10, and they were nowhere near the net. But she's like, she didn't care, which I loved about her, because now she's 13, she can hit them. But at one point, she's like, oh, I got all this space. Well, she was perceiving space, and then she would act upon it and be like, oh, okay, no basket. So there is a skill level that has to meet where we're at. So you're going to see some clips today where you're like, oh, whoa, we are not there yet. But we're also going to see some clips that are like, this is me, and this is some things that we can put into play. All right. So an example of this would be if a forechecker's coming to the goaltender, and we perceive that forechecker, and we act upon a space that we can move the puck to. All right? So let's go with some basics. We're going to get away from perception action a little bit, and we're going to talk about some basic puck handling skills. But we can also talk about perception action because the goaltender here is perceiving that the puck is being rimmed around the boards. So what's the goalie going to do? act, he or she's gonna go get it. Okay, they're gonna go get it. So in the NHL, I'm gonna actually put this in another mode so it doesn't keep looping on me. One sec. So in the NHL, we get out and stop pucks on our forehands. Just like I have another daughter who's 10. She plays hockey. I work on this drill with my goalie. Okay, female goaltender, 10 years old. I work on that drill. And I'm teaching her at 10 years old, when you start to see the puck being released from the shooter stick blade in the neutral zone, there's an action that needs to be made. I have to go get it. All right? We're teaching her at 10 years old to start thinking about the game. All right, so we stop pucks on our forehands often, and there's different distances we do this from too. The last one was from the neutral zone. This one's from inside the blue line. So the timing is tougher, and so it's harder to get to. So we also have to work on that action with our goalies. Like, it can't be easy all the time. We got to throw in some tough ones, okay? When we're working with younger goaltenders. Here's another one, very hard to get to, but he's able to get it. He's a high-end athlete, all right? The big one is backhands. Backhands, if I throw perception action out of the window for a second, backhand puck handling is the differentiator in most average puck handling goaltenders. They're not good enough on their backhand. Backhand can become a weapon, and it doesn't take a lot because the shooters do not respect us. So the backhand is a big deal. We'll see some great backhand clips in a bit. But being able to stop rims on your backhand is a big deal. All right. Here's another one from inside the zone. Okay, good backhand stop. We got a couple more. Very basic, okay? Very basic handles on the backhand side. Now, what we're going to start looking at is what's next. Well, we got to move the puck, right? We got to move the puck. So we do basic puck handling skills every day. Every day. And I do a lot of backhand work because the forehand at this point is pretty good. But we make simple passes. This is good puck handling. We have 2 forecheckers caught. We're gone. See you later, Maple Leafs. Okay? Making a backhand pass off of your backhand is a big deal. Okay? One-touch passing. Not stick handling. Being able to move it quickly. That's a great skill. And I'm working on that one, actually, with this 10-year-old girl I was telling you about. Working on just one-touch passes. Doesn't need to be long. They can be short distances. But it's very effective, okay? Sometimes we use our forehand, but then we go to our backhand, right? So that's another type of backhand pass. There's a whole bunch of different ways that we move, not only on that side of the ice, but how we handle pucks on that side of the ice as well. Okay, now we're going to look a little bit at, we are going to look at a little bit of footwork. This is also very important. Being able to pivot is a great skill, okay? And you can do this anywhere on the ice. You can work on any of this stuff anywhere on the ice. When I don't have time to work with my goalies with puck handling, I'll do it in the neutral zone. I'll slide the puck along the wall in the neutral zone, and they'll start working on collecting pucks, and we just make little passes, okay? So it can be worked on anywhere. Another one, okay? It's a great little pivot. And looking up ice is important. This is an interesting topic. A lot of people think looking up ice is the best option if you have time. But you really also need to teach your goaltender how to handle pucks with their back to the play. I would not have said that before, but after being in pro hockey now for 12 years and at the collegiate level for 5, you don't get that many handles where you get to spin around and like you're in your goalie school mode and you got all the time and the coach, how many fingers? 3, yeah, okay, great. It doesn't happen a lot. You have to really learn how to look over your shoulder, which we'll get to in a little bit as well. Okay? So footwork's a big deal. Getting a little bit more advanced on a couple of skills. And I want to remember, we're talking about some skills because you need a skill set before you can start moving forward into like big game action. So we're just looking at some tiny skills. One-handed backhands, stopping pucks that are really hard, that's a big skill as well. Okay? And you don't need to start by rimming it hard. You can start soft, but just by getting that technique down is a big deal. Okay? Now, we talked about looking up ice. Jordan gets a great look without pivoting his feet, right? Being able to shoulder check. That's about all you need. Okay? That's about all you need. And it saves you time. We also stop pucks in other ways. These are a little bit trickier. It's going to start getting a little more fun, I promise. So we can stop pucks with our bodies sometimes, right? Not just our stick. We stop pucks with our glove sometimes. And the two guys I work with drive me crazy, and they love using high sticks. It drives me nuts. It drives my head coach nuts, which brings me bad energy. And then, it goes around and around. And why not do it at the Four Nations Cup with a toe drag and a backhand? Yeah. Give me a heart attack. So those are some basics, okay? So those are some interesting basics. What we're going to look at now is some different things in this action coupling thing we're talking about, and some affordances as well. So we're not just puck stoppers, we're decision makers. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. We're going to see more of that in a bit. Puck handling, can be complex, but if we know what we're doing, it helps. And the first thing we're going to look at a little bit here is understanding the forecheck pressure, because that is part of perception. Tracking your teammates' positioning. You have to perceive that, which allows you to lead to the action you want to take. And also one thing that a lot of people don't think about, especially like at higher levels, is the spin rate of pucks. When it comes to your stick, like that thing can be hot. It can be spinning fast. It can be bouncing hard. And sometimes we're like, head coach, we're like, how can you handle that? It's tough sometimes when that thing is spinning. So being able to perceive that and act upon that properly is a big deal. The affordances you're given are basically kind of like your options. Like, what can I do? What decisions can I make? And so maybe you have a clean pass to the defenseman that's wide open. Maybe you have a heavy forechecker and a covered D. So you have to pass it somewhere else. That's your affordance. That's your lane. That's the decision you can make. Maybe the forecheck's a little bit slower and the middle of the ice is open. That's a little risky. Okay. The key is, just like I'm starting to do with that 10-year-old female athlete, is that perceiving what the situation is the first step, and it's super important. In the goalie school environment, we work a lot on the skills. We don't work a lot on the perception of the environment. That's an issue, okay? So trying to merge that into hockey camps is a big deal, and merging it with your hockey team is a big deal as well. Now remember, it has to match their skill set. We can't have the 10-year-old girl working on knocking passes down off the glass. It's just not going to happen. But all of this stuff does apply. And I'll show you in the end a couple of examples where we're starting to get this young lady to start making decisions. Okay? The biggest takeaway is that the game is fast in front of us, and the more we can start teaching younger athletes about the game, they're going to be able to make better decisions. Because that's a big issue, I think, with coaching, is we're teaching the goalies how to play goalie, and we're not teaching them how to play a position inside of the game of hockey. And that's something different. And that will allow you to perceive things better and make better actions. Okay. We're going to get a little bit more advanced, okay, as we go along. So the other thing that you have to be able to perceive as a goaltender, especially at the higher levels, is that we don't always stop the rim behind the net. We have to navigate the trapezoid. There's a lot of space back there. And sometimes when you perceive that the puck is not coming fast enough, you have to act accordingly and move to a different space, right? And so on this play here, he perceives the rim is moving slow, so he's not going to have time to shoulder check when he gets the puck. He's afforded an opportunity to look before he gets the puck. So he takes a peek now. This is a big decision he's made. And it's an important one because the puck is coming too slow. Now the decision's been made and we move it over. Which brings us to a very important skill set, I think, for mid-level goaltenders, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, is what I call a continuation play, where we don't stick handle. We keep the momentum of the puck moving with us, and it increases the speed of your goalie handle, and it increases the speed of your breakout because you're losing forechecker. No goalie handle. Or no handle, yep. Same thing. Okay? It's coming too slow. Joel perceives this, so he's going to take a look and he's going to understand what's going on around him early, so that when the puck arrives, he's acting now to the affordance that's given to him. This D is not ready. This is the guy. And so on. Okay? This is a great one here. This is a very good athlete, handling a puck in motion. Big man. Okay? It's a really nice goalie handle. It's really great. Teaching athletes how to do this is also very important. It can save your D's life. So instead of getting killed against the boards, we're able to stop pucks here. And again, this is coming from the neutral zone. We're going to talk about systems in a minute. But he perceives what's happening and he acts upon it. Now he's got to get back, but it really helps our defenseman out. It gives him the space he needs for that oncoming forechecker. So that's a big deal. These are great. These are big plays. This one I thought was even better because he doesn't just stop it. His action is he navigates it into the space that's available, which is, although this is a very tiny thing, this is something happening in his subconscious that's pretty high end. A lot of goalies in the NHL just leave these and their D get plastered, or they just stop them. He's actually guiding his D into the direction. The movement of the puck, the action that Binner has taken to move this puck, changes the perception of the D. If it's flat, the D doesn't know what to do with it. If it's moving, he says, aha, I know where I have to go now because the goaltender has guided me without even telling me. It's a great play. Subtle thing. Okay. A couple other little skills. Being able to rim pucks is a big deal. And, you know, I don't think Jordan would be upset with me saying that he doesn't rim pucks really hard. Joel rims pucks really hard. So that's actually a skill that even after being in the NHL for 8 years, like Binner's working on rims quite a bit. And this year's been a breakthrough year. He's getting a lot more power. We've adjusted the tool that he uses, his stick, to help with that. But being able to rim pucks is a skill that we're even working on, you know, at my level. So no skill is too basic. Ooh, okay. I talked about the backhand. Being able to chip pucks is a very big deal. With your backhand. Ooh, that was a nice one. A little bit of athleticism here. Use the toe of his stick, chip it over. A little bit of creativity there, if you will, Justin. Yeah. All right. Now, this one's pretty awesome. So this is fun. So now we're in the D zone, right? This is like a D zone clip. And what is Joel perceiving? He sees right away the rim. He comes out and just a subtle touch of the stick gets it over the oncoming forechecker stick. So that was great. Here's one of those trap pucks with a forehand continuation. And it ends up being like the ultimate for a goalie, right? We all want our handle to result in a goal. So this one was pretty cool. I threw that one in as well. Okay. Moving on. What we're going to do next is we're going to start looking a little bit more at the goalie's environment. Okay? And in order to do that, I want to pull up a couple more of these continuation plays. And I want to talk about how we can work on, I get this question a lot. I want to talk about how coaches can work on this. There's a lot of timing involved in continuation goalie handles. A lot of timing. Start with a pile of pucks. Put a puck here, have your goalie exit, collect it, and pull it in one motion. Start there. Okay, that's the biggest thing you can do. Then you start here, bank it, provide a favorable bounce, okay, a favorable bounce so that they can get it and sweep it. And then slowly you can work out on the wall, and then slowly you can work on the way out of the zone, providing more speed, and so on and so forth. But these continuation handles are a really big deal. And they work in a couple of ways. This one is, now things are changing. We're not just hitting the D. We're going to start using these continuation rims, as you see, to the weak side winger. Okay? So this is when they get really fast and effective, and you're out of your zone and you're into the O zone. very quickly. So another big skill that I think is super important for goaltenders in the puck handling world. Now, we talked about making shorter passes, right? Well, this pass is really not a big deal. It's just longer. And watch at the speed of the pass. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard, okay? But what makes it so great is that our goaltender really is starting to understand his environment now. And that's where we're going to go a little bit more with this presentation, is starting to really understand, when can I do this? You know, when can I get out here, knock a puck down in the glass, and hit a winger? Okay, how do I know when to bank a puck? All right, how do I know when to make the right decisions? Because that stuff is going to be super important as we move forward, looking at these concepts. So here's a few more. Same thing, pass is just longer, that's all. And it does take the strength to do that. I'm not naive. But I weighed about 140 pounds when I was 15 years old, and I would make longer passes. So it is possible. It is possible. Okay, so where we're going to move next here a little bit, we'll have a little bit of fun on these ones. A little bit more on the athletic side, okay? Now, the one thing I will say is this is why skating for goalies is important, because on a lot of these plays, the feet are super important. To be able to break out of traditional puck handling stances, be able to move up. This is not a long bomb. This is just simply a little chip up the wall, okay? But we're making important decisions, and these ones are a lot of fun. I love these old school ones. This looks like Hanu when he played. Just these little one-handers. There we go. Whoop. Okay, and actually, I will go back to this one here. This is some high IQ. This is actually very high IQ. End of the period, we're up 3-1. We don't want to whistle on our end. Let's get the heck out of here. And we have guys available, which I'm going to get into in a minute. Keep the play moving, okay? Same thing here, we're on the power play. Being able to catch pucks and drop them. We don't want to whistle in this scenario, especially on the road in Colorado, okay? Sets it up nicely and away we go. So some great stuff. And these guys are very athletic. They can make interesting decisions and do different things from different positions. And this guy loves the backhand flip. Drives me bananas. But he's good at it. Okay. So we've got a set of basic skills that these guys know how to do. They're good athletes, so they can do some other stuff. But it's not just about the technical skill. What it gets to be about more and more is really about understanding space and time. And this is where the perception-action coupling comes in. What it means is they need to understand to see the game. We have to teach them these things. And we have to predict where other people are going to be. Okay, that's another thing. And that's spatial awareness. That's knowing where the forechecker will arrive. Anticipate the options that are going to become available. And also understand the passing lanes that are going to become available. We're going to talk about that in a minute. I like dividing the ice into lanes. We're going to make things very simple for you. Timing is a big deal. And understanding the gap between the opposition. But the biggest concept in all of this is you're acting based on what the environment is telling you. And we need to teach kids to do that. So, this is one of the best pieces of advice that I was ever given. It was by I've worked with a lot of great defense coaches. One of them, Mike Van Ryan, who's currently the D coach in Toronto. He used to tell his defensemen to count numbers. And I was like, ooh, that's really easy. That's really easy. So now when I'm working with the 10-year-old female goaltender and I dump the puck in and I skate to one half of the ice or the other, I get her to count numbers. Where's the body? Well, it's on the right side. Where should the puck go? On the left side. Oh, awesome. That is like basic fundamental perception. Like, what is happening? Like, I don't care if it's left-handed or right-handed right now. Like, what half of the ice is the forechecker on? And we deal with this every day at the highest level, and I can help this with a 10-year-old athlete where, count numbers, Jordan, where's the number? Well, it's on the right, coach. Okay, great. Where should we put it? Okay, let's put it over on the left somewhere. All right, we're gone. That's very basic. Count numbers. How simple is that? Or, if they're number deficient, count colors. Where's the white sweater? Okay, let's put it to the red ones. All right? Very basic. Where's the numbers? Let's put it where the numbers aren't. Perceive that, act upon it. Where's the numbers? It's very simple, gang. Advanced puck handling is actually very basic. Okay? It can get a little more complicated. We'll get there. This one looks a little trickier. We got a couple more jerseys coming in, but is it really? Not really. We have 1, 2 basically on this half of the ice. Let's put it to where the white sweaters are not. Right? Perceive and act. This one's a great one. I love this one. Not a great stop. It was hard to get to. He's on the wrong side of the net now, if there's a right and a wrong side. I don't know if there is or not. But we know the numbers are here, and we understand where the space is going to be. This is the timing part. We have a defender coming into our screen, so we move it to where the numbers are not, and away we go. I thought this would be fun to put in. Mark in this one. Now, things are changing. Things are changing. We have 2 numbers. All right? So we got to, yeah, he's laughing at Benner. He's going to get forechecked. He's got 2 numbers coming in. So this is something maybe for the older crew. What we're going to start to look for, I want you just to take a second and think, what would be, maybe actually talk at your tables for a second. What would be the hardest goalie handle? What is the hardest one? What goalie handle gives you the most pressure? And you might not even understand the question, and that's okay. Let's take 1 minute, talk at your group about what does that mean, and what is the hardest goalie handle? In your experience, what do you think is the most difficult handle for a goalie to deal with in the game? Go ahead, take 60 seconds, go. It's quiet. Louder, talk. No way. What'd you guys get? What do you think?
We have time. If you don't have time, then it's the hardest.
Time is a big
If you
deal.
have time, you can show the check, you can
Make a better decision.
make calls.
Time is a big deal.
It's probably for me the biggest.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I like that. I like it. What do you guys got? What do you think?
And loops around and ends up getting fucking backwards. The situation and the goalie handle.
Okay,
Backhand rim.
okay. Backhand rim. Yeah, what do you guys think?
We draw it actually. We think when they lift the puck really slowly from the.
That's a pain in the butt. Yeah. Yeah.
And,
It's
They're
hard.
coming with the high speed. They will press it with the high speed. Maybe your Ds are too late out from the situation.
Perfect.
From the zone.
Okay. We're on the right track. That's good. What do you guys think?
He had a good one. Cross zone dump.
Cross ice dump. Okay. All right. I like that one. Okay. All right, we're going to bring it back. I had a couple interesting answers. We're going to keep counting numbers and we're going to come back to that. So, oh boy. Maybe we're not. Okay. All right. I had a couple interesting answers. We're going to come back to it in about 5 clips. Okay, so we're going to keep counting numbers. We got 2. There's our guy. It's basic. Count numbers. Same thing again. Okay, that one's a little trickier, obviously. Don't do it, Joel. Don't do it. Ah. Where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? Count numbers. Now, so here's the next step. I should go back to the last one. Quiet on the right, please, Thomas. So you can also start dividing the ice into lanes. So it gets a little bit more interesting. So one of the basic ways to do it is just divide the ice into 3 lanes. And that will also help a little bit. Now, we started, obviously, by counting numbers and dividing the ice into 2, right? Sometimes you can divide it into 3, which my guys do a lot, as you're about to see. But this is what he's afforded, right? This is the decision he's got to make. Do I have a crazy enough goalie coach to let me do this? That's the decision. And I love this. Green light, go for it. But the other thing is that your teammates, not just centermen, but the defensemen as well, they need to be on board here so that they're perceiving and acting accordingly as well. We can't forget that part. But this is the opportunity. This is the space. And so away we go. Same thing again. Where are the numbers? Don't do it, Joel. Oh, there it is. So this is a little extreme. Nice backhand touch. Okay, gets them out, which is good because it now gives us an opportunity to do the same thing. In comes the rim. We count numbers. This one is not that hard to do. The other ones looked a little riskier because it looks like Texier was going to put it in her own net because it was like, oh my gosh, which was Joel's fault. But yeah, we could make this 5-foot pass. But the deal is your teammates need to know what's going on and they need to know how to perceive and act too. Because if they're able to come back and say, oh, there's a number there and there's a number there, there's no numbers here, I guess I'm next up. And if your center can get low enough, it's not that risky of a play, but it looks amazing. So that's also an interesting look too to the center pop play that we have here, going on here. That's fun. Nice one-handed touch. Now this one is amazing. So this is one of my favorite handles of the year, and this is because I'm working on teaching our players perception action coupling on goalie handles. And so you know who got this puck? It's Robert Thomas. He's a centerman. So what he said was, well, Dave, I saw the numbers out there. I knew the middle was open. I'm going to cut my route short. Why would I go all the way down there? So he cuts his route short, and we hit the center, just not down here this time. We caught him up here. Okay, I want to see. I want to make sure I'm going on the right track here. All right, perfect timing. I asked you what was the toughest goalie handle. I heard a couple ones where you don't have enough time. I heard a cross ice dump. I heard the ones with the slow rim. Anybody else want to throw a couple out there? There's no wrong answer. Those are all right. Those are all very difficult.
Oh, the short hopper that lands in front of you.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one, especially from the press box. Yeah, anybody else? Well, I'm happy I asked the question. The hardest goalie hand rule is a neutral zone regroup because it does all of that stuff. It does all that stuff. Neutral zone regroups are very difficult because the opposition is gaining speed, they're swinging, they're posting, and what's your group doing? Trying to navigate all that speed. It's rare that your group is coming back and trying to match speed. They're trying to stay above players, but oftentimes, even when they're doing their job properly, they just get beat with speed. The defensemen are gapping up, right? This is the kind of environmental stuff we got to start helping kids understand too. You know, we have to understand the patterns inside of the game that wreak havoc on us, not just in puck handling, but also in puck stopping too. Neutral zone regroups are a nightmare, and I'm going to go through a few. Okay? So this is, what do? You lose a face-off and you go, right? You go. All right, so we're going, and the D have to gap up, right? We're gapping up. So what's going to happen? We're in trouble. So these neutral zone plays are very difficult. And guess what happens a lot of times? In neutral zone regroups, one of the things that I try to advocate for goaltenders is that you don't go to the defenseman. You can't. They're done. They're just decoys at this point because they're under so much heat, so much pressure. Okay? Now, this is an advanced concept, but the reality is it's starting to understand to perceive your environment. And if we don't teach kids at a young age what the heck a neutral zone regroup is, we're in trouble when they get to 15, 16, 17 years old. I'll ask younger kids, like, do you know what a neutral zone regroup is? They have no idea what I'm talking about. Because we're teaching goalies how to play goal inside of a game, not the reverse. But I want to teach the game to a position player inside of that. So they need to know this stuff. And when they can start identifying, like, okay, a neutral zone regroup is coming, there's going to be a boatload of speed coming. And that's not just about puck handling, but that's also about, like, receiving the rush game, right? So it's important. So back to my thoughts. We like to try to move it to the forwards during these neutral zone regroups, and I advocate that for anybody that I talk to. This one's a little bit unique, okay? This one's a little bit unique because in this case, what's happened? The perception on this one is interesting. What's happening in the environment is everyone's stopped. So he's actually going to have a different action in this case. The D will become available for him, okay? But in a lot of neutral zone regroup situations, as we're seeing, that is not the case. And you need to take other actions to try to get it into the forward's hands. So, but what the nice thing is when you start to understand the patterns inside of the game, this perception action stuff, the gap starts to close. And this is when it gets incredible. The amount of time it takes to perceive something and then act is the differentiator at my level and at any level. When you see a goalie's really good, it's because they can close the gap on that. They see something and they act upon it instantly. And the closer you bring that gap together, the better athlete you're going to have. And I'm just using puck handling as the platform. But what I've done is, I've done a whole bunch of research and I understand that the neutral zone regroup is tough. So when they perceive a neutral zone regroup happening, the gap is closed. They know their next action right away because they've learned the environment. They're learning the game. And you can't learn to perceive if you don't understand the game itself. So a couple more here. Neutral zone regroup, D are under pressure. Got to get to the forward. And it's not really crazy handling. These are just a lot of basic rims. Okay, it's a good stop. It's a direct pass. Okay, but we know the D are covered over. And the D are doing a great job. The D are doing a great job because they're getting to the corners. And they know they're the decoy at that point. They're the decoy, you know, but the forward's available. Uh-oh, this one's not cut right. They're fast now. Okay, there we go. This one's interesting. So a little bit slower. We also, at a higher level, and I'm just putting this in, you can also read what your D are up to. So if D are closing on guys, they're gapping up guys, they're trying to get a piece of them, that this D's out of the equation. And if this guy's not gapped up, then he's probably going to become an option. That's some of the stuff we're thinking about with goalie handles at this point with my two guys. They're really learning how to read and perceive what's happening in front of them. Oh, I threw this one in, neutral zone regroup. This is a basic one though, okay? We got 3 people stuck on one side of the ice and they're all stopping because of an offside. So life is different now. The D will be available. So just some things that they'll look for when it comes under speed. And what's happened is, I don't know if you've been following, but some of the things you've talked about are all happening in these clips. Some of them are faster than others. Some of them are slower. Some of them are cross ice, so on and so forth. Okay? So you were all right. What we're trying to do a little bit more is teach the concepts of the game to our athletes. Okay. Now. All right. This is my favorite part. Because this is where, when you have your skills that come from a young age, both of the goaltenders I work with today, I am not naive. I am the benefactor of a lot of great coaches. Like, Binner had a coach named Red Dog years ago. Like, everyone loves this guy, and without him, like, I play like 1% in their development. And what is amazing though is through all these years, the 2 guys that I work with, they have a lot of creativity in their game. You know, they don't make saves that look cookie cutter and the tracking isn't perfect and the technique, like they build blocks and they make saves sometimes, you know. So the cool thing is, because they have creative mentality, we have been able to apply that to goaltending. And this is the cool part when you start thinking about perception action. And I started thinking about this a while ago, because you can reverse it. You can get the other people to perceive you're about to do something, to give you the affordance that you want, to create the action you want. You know, it's like when I have a dog, and I learned so much about perception action through my dog, because when I open up the door, door, and he attacks. Like, he loves it. You know, that's his action. The door opens, he perceives someone's coming home, he's excited. You walk by the treat drawer, he thinks it's a treat. So he's coming, like, it's unbelievable what dogs teach you about perception action. And when you have like the toy in your hand and you do this, and they take off, well, they're perceiving something, but I've manipulated it. I created an action I want, so I don't have to play anymore and I can go somewhere else. And then he comes with the toy and gets mad at me. So you can really flip the script, and that's where we're gonna go. Okay, so what happens when you don't have an option? Like, the game is 5-on-5. And what if you were back there with the puck and you don't have an option anymore? So what you have to do is manipulate their thinking. You gotta trick them. So the opposing player assumes you're gonna pass to the defender, but you pass to the winger. And the opposition reacts to the false affordance. So for us, in the simplest of terms, we're faking. We're gonna fake. We're gonna create a bluff, okay? There's also another way we can do this, and I call it baiting, where we just hang on long enough that someone leaves somebody and comes to us, and then we go, and we just put it back to where they were. Okay? So you can flip the script. So mastery includes, so now we're talking about a high end here. Mastery doesn't just include using real affordances, but shaping what others perceive, okay? So we'll have a couple fun ones here so my goalies like to bait a lot. They'll hang on to it a little bit longer. Come on, here dog, and then they throw the treat somewhere else. Okay, so now we got 2 guys beat. Now, if we go back to all the basics, okay, it's a backhand rim. He takes a look up ice. He's counting numbers, right? Like, this is not complicated science here. But what is a little bit interesting is now we've trained guys to bait. So he's saying this is great, but they're on the defensive side of my players. I want them on the wrong side. So we can go up the ice. So we wait a little bit longer, and now we got some guys caught, and we're off to the races. See you later. Bye-bye. Tricked you. Okay? I love this one. That's a good one. right? Now we got 2 guys gone and we're going. So we're reversing, and what we're doing here is we're kind of creating the perception that we don't know what we're doing. Like we're creating the perception to the other team like, oh, this goalie's not handling it right. He's messing around here. So they come at us. They're going to come at us, and we get what we want in the end. Okay? We get what we want. No respect, eh? Why wouldn't he come at our stick blade there? Like, what are they doing? This one is nasty. This is amazing. So I asked Joel after the game, why'd you do this? He said, I wanted the guy on my back. I said, I like that. So what he did was he stopped the puck behind him. Look, it's off his back foot. So a lot of guys would chip this forward, but because he's doing that, the guy comes onto his back, which gives him the window to just slide it. And it's a 10-foot pass, but it's really the beauties and the simplicity of it all. Like, where's this guy going? Like, right? So his affordance is here. This is the only option he has, but these guys are going to kill him. So he gets people moving the wrong way. This one's great. Not a big deal. All he does is transfer his weight to his front foot. That's all he just does this. He goes, and that apparently creates the perception that he's going somewhere with this puck, only to give him what he wants. And really, what it does is it baits this guy in, as we've been talking about, okay, to move that way. We got bait. All right. So now we're moving into a little bit more fakes. Okay. That was a little risky. Didn't like that one. This one was great. This little player right here, he's going to move it to he's going to go for a forehand backhand, but it's enough that baits this guy in. Now, what's interesting is this is spatial awareness here. Like, he can't move it flat. He has to use the boards, and away we go. This one is smooth. This one's great. So he gets the puck. Watch what he does. Now, this is another concept that we've kind of just started looking at a little bit. Okay, we need this guy over here. We need him over here. Watch his feet. We got him. See his toe caps? That's what he's looking at. How can I push him that way? Got him. Bye. See you later. Okay. This is a Rob Gray thing. This is the biggest takeaway I've got from Rob Gray's books, if you read them. Are we really looking where the information is? That has been mind-blowing for me. I come back to that after in question and answer. Ask me that question later. But, what do we need? Like, his toes are telling us where he's going. And once he starts going, we know we got him. Okay, we know we got him. Now, you want to know why I cut this off? Someone say it. Come on. Goes in the net. That's why. We turn it over, it goes in the net. Doesn't work all the time. We're going to talk about failure in a bit, actually. It's a big deal. Now, so what happens is when you start passing the puck to the middle all the time, what do people want to do? Score on the empty net. So we're like, well, this is great. We're going to play the game of cat and mouse for a little bit. Let's start looking up the middle every time, and then our D are just going to open up again. So we did that for a while. There you go. We are telling people we are going to do something. I don't know why Igor didn't go out on that one, but we're going to say, oh, we're going up. There we go. And look, it's not that hard, but it's having the knowledge about how to do it, and having coaches that embrace some failure. Going to the middle, no, we're not. Some of these are going to look the same. Oh, going to the middle, no, we're not. But we're creating a false, look at O'Reilly's stick. I actually showed him this one. I'm like, we got you, because he's with the team this week. So, like, he thought it was going middle. So we made him perceive something we were going to act upon only to create the action that we wanted. Couple more. Oh, okay. Good. There it is. Okay. I'm going to close out the handle section with a couple of my favorites from the season. There might be a couple duplicates in here, I think. This one was interesting. So come in, and he did a poor job on this one, counting numbers in space. This should have been a simple play to the D, and it goes around, and we're all over the place. So it's a safety play. We rim it to space, whatever, and then it comes back down and around, and he doesn't stop. He comes into the net, and he keeps going. Now he's going to handle the D zone handle, which is fun, and then he does this thing again, puts him on his back, right? And then that was one of my favorite handles of the year. We're out. Let's see here. What's this one? I love this one just because of the pace of the backhand. Like, that's a big man and just some great athleticism. And it just kind of puts a lot of the stuff together we've been talking about. So that was really cool. That was a good one. Through the triangle. I don't even know if he saw him or not, but I'm going to pretend he did. I love these trap pucks and puck protections. It's coming in, slow puck, puck separation, bank. Like, this was pretty cool. This was a fun one. And he's actually used the backhand. That was great. That was a good one. Good little set. Small detail, but goes a long way. Backhand sauce the middle for some reason. I don't know why I did that. And this is the favorite one of the year, because you always want your handle to result in a goal on the other end of the ice. And it's just a simple backhand rim. And anytime 97 gets the puck, it makes your goalie handle look really good. So that was a fun one. That was a fun one. So here's the problem with goalie handles. And it doesn't matter if you're at my level or not. It's risky. And nobody wants the puck in the back of the net. Nobody. And especially at the minor hockey league levels. Head coaches, assistant coaches, they don't want it. But one of my biggest things that I've read about, and I'll credit my strength and conditioning coach, Ryan Padell, who's very good at his job. He's working on his PhD right now. He's always siphoning me interesting articles and things. And we started talking years ago about failure, and he pointed me to a few things. And, we always hear about challenge and failure really is what propels people. You don't go to the gym and lift the 15-pound dumbbell your whole life and expecting to get stronger. Just there's some points where you have to work to failure. Correct me if I'm wrong, Maria. That's not my domain, but it's got to be close, right? Okay, all right, nailed it. So that's an oversimplification, I guess. But optimal learning doesn't happen when you're hitting it 100% of the time all the time. And I really want you to think about that, not just in puck handling. I want you to think about it in the drills you do. Because I get invited from time to time to go to goalie camps or to hang out with coaches with their team, or they'll send me drills, and I'll send back and I'll say, it's great. Concept's good, teaching's good. Your kids aren't getting any better. And then they'll say, how come? And I'll say, well, you're not scoring any goals. And I have to say, to Justin's point, I love learning, and I love learning from the people I work with. This is one of the biggest points in my career, when the day Jordan Binnington came to me and he said this: can you stop shooting it into my glove and start scoring? And I'm saying it appropriate for the camera. I said, okay. Was I ever nervous? Because we said, all right, shooter, start scoring. And he scored twice out of the 6 reps. And then the next time he scored 3 out of the next reps. And then he scored 2. And then I was getting mad. And I'm like, this is why I'm shooting it in your glove. You're getting mad. But what's interesting is that that's a pro athlete who knows what he needs to get better. He didn't understand why at the time. But he knew that it wasn't like this is not helping me get better. But as a goalie coach for years, and I think I'm humble enough to say that I don't do everything right. I'm giving you an example of, hey, I didn't do this right for some point in time. But we have to challenge our goaltenders more, because what's happening is when they get into the game and it doesn't go perfectly into their glove, they don't know what the heck's going on and why things went wrong. And so when we come back to puck handling here, it's okay to fail. And we need to set our drills up in practices where, yeah, they're going to fail. And you're going to have to tell the coach that. You know what? You want a good puck handling goalie? We're going to mess it up a lot in practice. Just so you know. It's going to happen. Because here's the other thing. If you mess up a puck handle in a game and the team isn't used to you messing up a puck handle, what happens? They'll freeze. Like, well, the goalie messed this one up. So, well, no. You got to help. We help you when you mess up. You better help me when I mess up. So that's also a team synergistic thing where it's like, yeah, there's tons of handles that were not clean. They weren't clean. Like, it's in a bad spot. We're whacking it and it goes around. It's fine. The puck handle was a fail. But we learned to navigate failure. Science will say, from what I understand, 60 to 75% is a great success rate number if you're looking to kind of like work on development and pushing athletes into a new level. There's a time and place where, look, I don't want on morning skate like we had today, I don't want my players scoring 6 out of 6 goals on the morning skate warm-up drill. Like, it's probably bad coaching. But yesterday when we had a team practice, there's a couple things that we gotta get used to on this ice size, and I don't care if the puck's going in. We gotta get this down. Struggling with timing, misreading, great. I like it. It's good. They help refine things. They help you get sharper, more precise. They get you dialed in. Chasing perfection in training is chasing stagnation. You're not getting any better. Make the conditions challenging enough, okay? So I'm going to draw up a couple things that I do just with the 10-year-old athlete I was mentioning, okay? And I'm going to do a drill that we literally did this morning on morning skate. So the best available athletes in Canada at the World Championships did something like this. We just didn't do the puck handling part. But you're going to see where I'm going with this. So anybody do a drill where you line a bunch of players up here, you skate around a bunch, and then you shoot a puck? Probably, right? There's like 1,000 patterns, right? So in youth hockey, like, they're just trying to get the kids used to this stuff, this full ice thing. Like, wow, that's crazy. So they start with a puck and they like literally go down and shoot. That's the drill. I was like, oh, okay. This is like, because I haven't been involved in hockey at this age in a long time. But it's a really cool space for my daughter and I to hang out. So I'm like, this is basic, but all right, here we go. And then it looks something like this. They pass it to this line, and they don't even pass it. They just leave it there, and then they go and they shoot. Okay, we're evolving. This is cool. And then it gets, to the point where we're doing some different stuff where we pass it here and we catch it. We don't pass it again, but then we skate all the way around. And then sometimes we pass it here, we get it back, we skate around. Oh, now we're passing it here, we're getting it back, we're going out, we're shooting. Like, it's evolving, right? So it's like, hey, this is a lot of fun. So then I'm saying to myself, well, how can I work my goalie handles into this drill? So here's what we did. The lines are here now. Okay, the lines are here. And we have a coach. We're preparing for failure. Preparing for failure. We have a coach with pucks here. That's really bad, but it's kind of hard to draw on this thing. Sorry, gang. We have pucks here with a coach, okay? This player comes out and stops because it's hard to catch a pass in motion and pass it in motion when you're not used to it. So they stop at the dot, and now we actually have like a visual marker on the ice that the goalie's got to hit, not just the stick plate. It's bigger. Like, hey, just put it on the dot. Great. And they make one pass with the goalie, and they skate all the way down and they shoot. Now, when the goalie rips it over the glass by accident, lands in their dad's beer, well, the coach has got a safety puck. They just put it out here and they go. It's okay. The drill's not ruined. It's not ruined anymore. Okay? And then guess what? Well, we want to get a little more complicated, right? So now we're going to make this pass longer. They pass it from the start of the line and they skate straight at the goalie and they get it back and they go. Okay, that's great. Well, now I want the goalie kind of like, do you think we can hit the player in motion? Well, remember that face-off dot we used? Let's use that as our target. So now, here we go. We pass to the goalie. The player comes to the bottom of the circle and the goalie's got to put it on the dot and they skate into it. Oh, now we're hitting timing. We're hitting a player in motion. And guess what? The player knows that they've got to time it, and they don't even, all they got to do is time it to get to the dot. And the goalie knows all I got to do is get it to the dot. Guess what? Our confidence is we're moving. Like, wow. And guess what? The coach can do, I don't care if they make 100 other passes to 400 other players and go down and shoot and take 10 rebounds, but I got my goalie handle, so that's cool. And there's no reason you can't do this at any other level. And if you want to make it more complicated, it's so simple. Let's put our lines back here. Rim it. Rim it to the goalie. And if your goalie's not great puck handler, perfect. They can set it. Now this is the route. So they just pick a puck up that you set back there. If they're better, you can rim it. Have this guy post up here. You can have a rim it. This guy comes out of the line. This drill is the most basic drill on the planet, but it can become the most beautiful puck handling drill at any level. But the key in all of it is, you got to plan for failure a little bit so your head coach doesn't lose their mind. Because you're going to fail. You want to fail. Okay? Get the coach a lot of pucks because you're going to need them. What do we do for time now?
You got like 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We can leave some time for questions.
So, puck handling, I got to try to sum this up quick. The basics are super important. That's all those guys are doing. What makes it really elite is understanding the game. We have to teach the game more, gang. We have to. Myself included. When I was at the University of Maine, that's all I did. I just looked at the blue paint. That was it. That was my space. And I started realizing, oh my gosh, there's a game happening out here. Uh-oh. And I failed forward. I became a video coach at the American Hockey League. Never been a video coach. Rob Zettler was my head coach, and he let me trip and fall and scrape my knees and probably concussed. Like, it was a disaster for about 3 or 4 months, where I'm trying to code a game that I really was starting to learn, like, oh boy, I don't know what's going on. But I learned so much because I had a guy who let me fail forward. And you need to take that concept into your coaching. And now it's at a point where, I'm continuing to learn even more details at a higher level. So at the younger ages, the basics are super important to get us moving forward and to get these athletes upstream into the programs they need to. And while we've used puck handling as our medium today, the concepts here can be applied to anything. You just need to get creative about doing it. That's all, okay? Yeah. Go ahead, Q&A?
Dave, thank you for that presentation, especially with your busy schedule. Awesome example of using evidence-based research that's relevant and recent to the game that we see every single day. Questions, we got time for a few questions. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to repeat the question just so I can make sure we get it on the recording.
Do you practice either one-hand passes and where increased only? Or
Anywhere. Do I practice one-hand passes? I practice one-hand passes but like all the time. But, I mean, that's the beauty of puck handling. You can do it anywhere. If after practice there's things going on, heck, there's times where you're, I know there's times where my coach will do drills where things start here and they go up ice and this whole space isn't being used. Well, what an opportunity to have a small space to work on some puck handling, So I do the one-hand stuff anywhere. Yes, we use it a lot. Yeah, it's like our goalies like to catch pucks and drop them and move them, which they do it and they're good at it. Yeah, so we use it a lot. Yeah, it's a good skill to have. Yeah.
I'll ask one. How did Jordan's confidence/competence change after the Four Nations when it came to moving pucks, managing pucks?
I would reverse that a little bit. I felt like his confidence of handling pucks got him going into the tournament, because like it's an asset. And so I think a lot of times as coaches, we like to build on deficiencies. Like, we got to get this better. I'm with you, but I'm on the other side a lot. I like to know what a guy or a girl does well, and let's hammer that and make it a separator. Like, if you're good at it now, let's get you elite. If you're elite, let's make it untouchable, right? So when you get to a tournament like that and you have a skill set that doesn't require stopping the puck, but allows you to connect to the game. That's why I love puck handling. It connects you with the game. It allows you, like in a game where you might not get a lot of shots, you're in it. You're in the game. So for him, I would say the opposite is kind of true. It wasn't confidence coming out. It got him confidence through the tournament. And the team was like, wow. Like they were impressed. The coaching staff was like, okay, this is, and so that got contagious and it was part of the team gaining confidence in him. If that's clear. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Nothing.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wait, one question. What's been the biggest difference now with that bigger ice?
You want to know what the biggest? Okay, so for me, that's an interesting question. Not overcoaching, because I feel like wow, like we got to, what you know. So you really have to figure out what's important. How many people work for other federations in here right now?
That's your competition over there. That's the.
Oh, he's back there. Can't answer that question. How much did you pay him? Sorry, what's that? That's funny. That's a really funny question. I'll answer it some other time. I'll get you the answer. It's a real thing. I will tell you though, not overcoaching, because I can tell you one thing. One of the things that I feel like I've done a great job as a coach over the years, and I try to help other people with, is like, just be quiet. Like, man, we do too much. Like, we fill our goalies' heads with all of this stuff. And like, there's probably 10 or 12 things that I've written down where I'm like, whew, I saw it on TV, but now that I'm here watching this stuff, like, I'm like, there's some things, you know? So it's like, what is the most important? And I cannot tell you. Moving, next question. Someone else was here. Yeah. I'll come back here.
How much would you, like, are you integrating communication with the team centerman? How do you have set words, like how much are you putting into that?
Yep.
And how much are you leaving up to the goaltender to?
Awesome. That's an amazing question. It's a great question, because that's part of perceiving, is hearing, right? It's part of the senses, and it's part of it. The answer is we don't talk. Because the other team, everyone uses the same calls, like set, up, over. Everyone uses it. So what happens is the forecheckers are yelling, over, over, over. They're like, well, if we hear that, we know that's not open. Thanks for the tip. So we rely a lot on guys hitting their spots. Like I didn't get into the system. I just can't. Not with the camera anyway. We have to rely on guys hitting their spots, and there's little idiosyncrasies that guys do in each position that we've kind of learned some tricks along the trade that help. And a lot of it is relying on our goaltender on seeing it. Our goalies just make plays, you know, because it happens. It's a real thing.
How much you talk about it off ice?
Yeah, we do often. We definitely will slide. I would say every 2 or 3 games, I make my head coach put in a good clip of a breakout. Just a reminder. And if things are going sideways a little bit, which they go sideways, I would say our goalie handles go sideways 5 or 6 times a year, where you're getting to 3 games, you're like, oh boy, what is happening? And the goalies look like they don't know what they're doing. And so we'll go out, we'll start with the D, because it usually it starts there. You know, and once the D are hitting their spots, then everything is, maybe it's not the D's fault, but we just polish that up, and we'll take the whole D core out just for 5 minutes, maybe 5. Everyone runs their route maybe twice. That's it. Just a reminder. But yeah, it's on film. I would say every 3 games we got a clip in, because it's a big deal. It's a team concept. You know, it's a breakout. Yeah, there's another one here.
I had one, yes.
Yeah.
Have you had a goalie during your time in the NHL that is not that of a capable puck handler?
Yep.
That leads to my question. Since the man behind you was never really known to be a good puck handler in New York, they had the weak side D going for the corner, and there was a rim.
Yep.
How would that kind of also affect the team if you have one who is really capable and wants to play on every puck, and then one who is leaving the blue paint?
Yep.
How would you treat that, and has that been the case?
Yeah, so then you have to understand, like, it's an interesting conundrum. I had a guy in the American Hockey League that played the game one way, but didn't have any gear growing up the way he wanted to play. So you can imagine what that was like, puck handling for him. Like, it was clunky, it was bad. So we worked really hard on the 10-foot passes. and stopping pucks, and we did some of this stuff, and it's a confidence thing. So that's just a work in progress. And he had a skill set, to be honest with you, at a very low level. So I'm working at a pro level, but working on basic skills, which is fine, because he just hadn't been taught it, or it wasn't placed at a level of importance, okay, where he came from. So that's okay. And he got better. He got to a point where we could rely on him to make the passes to the D, hitting the forwards, not so much. But what we started to learn was, guess what? Neutral zone regroups, you are not going out. So he had to learn, like, neutral zone regroup, dump, stay. Rush, good F3, D closing, okay, I can go get this one. So we taught him that. It gets really tricky when you have one goalie who's good and one goalie who isn't on your team. That gets tricky. And so what happens is, one of the ways we navigated that was, typically in St. Louis, we don't like to set pucks for our D. Like, it's rare. We have a couple D that like it. So from time to time, they'll swing through and do it. But we would bring the set in for that goaltender where they got out and stopped it as quick as they could and get out. And that helped. It helped us with wheeling the puck. And then the D would make decisions. So when you have a goaltender who's not that capable of handling pucks, you got to get the puck into the D's hands as quick as possible. You need to handle it as little and as make the most basic decision possible, which would just be a set. And that's elementary, but if you know if you know the skill set, which is actually like in the first slide of the goaltender, then it becomes really effective. Because if you do that well, then you're fine. It's okay. Yeah.
And it becomes so evident in a team, so the team has to buy in a little bit.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And it's no different than your players. They're good at some things and not good at others. So they're positioned certain ways in the lineup, right? Yeah. Any more? We got time for a couple more? One. I'm having fun. Come on. One more.
But you got a game coming up?
I do.
One more. If there's no
That's
more
no.
questions,
That's no.
I'd like to connect some dots here.
Yeah.
And thank you for connecting the dots.
Okay.
You had a quote there about the challenge point. Anyone notice you saw that before today? In Job Franson's presentation, exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing, the same quote about the challenge point. And it all connects with what we've been talking about. The perception action started there with Job Franson this morning and went through Hanu's presentation and now with Dave. And I've been trying to navigate this also along the day, the importance that we get to a change in how we coach goalies and get more of that coupling into how we teach, practice, and coach the goalies. Because there has been way too much repetition, drilling, doing the same thing over. And to connect to that, if you have a chance, take a look at that equipment over there. That's what we've been doing in Sweden for the last couple of years. With the jerseys, when the kids start playing, we want to encourage as many as possible to try out to be a goalie, but not to be just a goalie. To rotate as long as possible, because as Davis told us, it's so important to know not just what's in the paint, but to play hockey. Mm-hmm. So we should have hockey players playing in the net, not being goalies from 5 years old or something like that.
That was a mean joke, bringing those little pads for me.
Yeah.
You see, a short joke. I didn't like that.
Yeah. I have two more announcements, but I'd like to thank Dave first. Yeah.